All right. Hello, Twitch. What? Where is audio? Get out of there. Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be back on Twitch. It's been a little while since I've streamed. I was out for a bit, and now I'm I'm excited. I don't know. So today I'm not planning on doing anything super exciting. We have a few open issues on the issue tracker, but I just don't have the energy to do them. I wanna I wanna get back to fun work, to pull requests. Also, pardon me, I am logging into my stream manager in the background. Cool. Let's just test out the chat, make sure it still works. Oh boy. OBS, why are you doing this to me? So I'm using this cool Show My Chat from Ben Myers that should show the chat. There it is. It's on the stream. Awesome. So today I want to make a little bit of progress on the TypeScript-ESLint website. To recap, TypeScript-ESLint is the tooling that enables TypeScript to be linted, or TypeScript code to be linted by ESLint. So that's some exciting stuff. I've been doing a lot of work. A few other people have also been doing a lot of work on the website because documentation is important. One of the things that we've been working on in the website is the individual rules page, the page that's used to document each rule. And uh, these pages could use a lot of love. There are a whole bunch of them, over 100, I want to say. I know soon we're going to be moving this attributes thing to the right. Another contributor, Josh Cena, is working on that. But if you look at in the repo the individual pages, let's look at the first one. Let's see, adjacent overload signatures. They're stored as MD or markdown files, and this options thing, that's kind of what I want to work on today. This options is hard coded or written in each MD file. Zoom out, there we go. So let's find one, here we go, array type. Each MD file explicitly writes out the options. And you know what? I really want to automate that. There's no need for us as maintainers and contributors to have to write in every single rule file what the options are. Let me just post on Twitter starting now. I'm gonna try to automate the description, or automate how individual rule pages describe their rules options, e.g. example. Cool. So feel free to post in the chat if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get started. Exciting stuff. All right, so in our Docusaurus config, we have, where is it? We have a bunch of configurations. Ooh, excuse me. I was out and then had COVID, so my throat's still a little wonky. Somewhere in this Docusaurus config, we have a plugin setting. Here we go, generated rules docs, that helps automate the stuff on these generated rule docs files. So for example, if you look at the array type file, array-type.md, it's got this file is source code, not the primary documentation location. Notice that's so that when someone visits the MD file directly, they're told, hey, this is source code, this is not the actual documentation file, go to this URL. But notice how the URL does not have that little notice. It's done because we modify the code, the AST, abstract syntax tree, the description of what's in that markdown file before it gets rendered by Docusaurus. And that's done by this line of code. So what I want to do is add some more logic to this generated rule docs plugin that adds an options section, or maybe modifies the existing options sections to add this JSON C description of the options to the beginning. Yeah. So I'm noticing that some rules use this format here, and then say this rule is not configurable. Other rules just have the options and don't have an example of how to configure it. So I'm thinking, to start, I will just add this thing in to each options page so that we can delete any existing snippet of code here. So if you look at, let's say, oops, adjacent overload signatures, I'm going to auto-generate this part. Right. So let's add a new one. So there were 3 things that we'd previously been auto-generating, and now I'm going to add a 4th. For add a description of options for the rule. So notice how in the previous one we find an H2, find the index of it. So let's say, let's rename that as we have now multiple H2s we're looking for. Attributes H2 index. Let's say const options H2 index equals, and I'm going to copy and paste the same logic that the previous thing was using for now. But we also want to say, in addition to the child being a heading and having def2, this child also needs to, as mdast.heading, have children equal to options. So how does this child actually look? If we go to astexplorer.net, whoops, type it as markdown, use the remark parser. We see it's a heading where the children is length 0. There's one child whose type is text and value is options. Okie dokie. So I'm actually going to refactor the code a little bit. I'm noticing that we have to do child as MAST when we do child type as heading. So I'm going to write a type predicate. Node is heading, node bast.node, which returns node is mbsd.heading. It's unist.node. So a type predicate tells TypeScript that if something returns true, then it is actually this type. Means I will no longer have to do these typecasts. So an index where the child is heading means I no longer have to do child as a ast.heading. All right. So it's got children length 0 and child.children 0.type is text, and child.children 0.value is options. All right. So I'm going to first rename this previous one, attributes node. All right. So what do I want to do? I want to add a description. I want to add a the same block that we have from this file, this JSON C shenanigan. So I'm going to slice this, adding it at the options h2 index. So just after that heading, I'm going to add a type code as mdast.code, and it's going to have, let's look at this, lang JSON C, just reading from this over here, and then the value is hello world, just to test it out. Also, why is TypeScript complaining? Oops. Delete count and then items to add. Okay, I know how to use it right. All right, so if I yarn start, now the website that I have running locally should, once it loads, modify the AST for the rules pages to add in this hello world. Look at that. It it added it. It did not add what I wanted. Oh, child at children length is 0. I meant there should be one child. So free run again. Doo -doo -doo. Isn't this exciting? All right, I still no. So in theory, I can debug this with like node and inspect breakpoints and stuff. In practice, I'm just gonna options h2 index. So I'm gonna write a const log equals args if the file stem is decent overload signatures. All right, so I'm just going to add this little log. What is it complaining? Is this an ESLint complaint? All right, so now I got this nice little log going so that if my file is this JSON overload signatures one, I'm going to console log what is the h2 index I got and what does parent.children look like. So this should help me debug why is this logging only down here. All right, but I'm noticing that it only logs one or two, like a 2 or 3 levels deep, however long. So I'm going to stringify. This is a cute little logging tip where if you need to console log something to the node console, JSON stringify thing, comma null, comma 4 is a quick way to get it printing. There we go. All right. So we got, yep, it's not finding the options h2 index. I'm going to command all, copy and paste, and let's take a look. So where is options? So there is a heading, type heading, depth 2, where the children length 0, type is text, value is options. Isn't that what I'm checking for? Child dot children. No dot type. This is heading, depth 2, child children length is 1, children 0 dot type. Oops, that's the wrong one. Come on, options, where'd you go? Here it is. So type heading, depth 2, children, 0 is type text, value is options. All right. Let's do some more debugging. But I equals 0. And fun fact, VS Code VS Code in theory should normally prints like where you are in the thing, but I guess it's not doing with this anonymous file. It's temp.js. Yeah. All right. Anyway, index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is index 16. Index 16 is parent.children 16. I'm also going to do 15 and 17 just to make sure I'm logging it right. Oops. I recently switched from PC to Mac, so I'm still getting used to a lot of these shortcuts. Life is good. All right, so index 16 is, yep, heading, depth 2, children has length 1, children 0 is type text. All right, so const maybe heading equals parent.children 16. Let's log some details, log. You know what, I'm going to multi-select all of these and paste them here. Look at this. Maybe heading. And I'm gonna cast as any. Right. So this will log in the console for each of these conditions, which one, or whether it's true or false, so I'll figure out which one is complaining. Huh, why is it, they're all true. So why is this giving me index of -1? What's going on there? I'm very confused. First day back, it's been 20 minutes, and I don't understand what's happening. Why is node is heading, no type is heading? Oh, I forgot to log whether node is heading. Bet you that's the one that's returning false. Oh my god, that's what it is. Type heading lowercase h, node type is heading lowercase h. There we go. There we go. Isn't that wonderful? All right. So switch it to lowercase h to be correct. Oh boy. Now it's got a bunch of complaints on line 75. Yeah, I'm just gonna delete all this stuff. Yep, options h2 index. Oh, it's 17. Sure, whatever. What do I know? I found the issue. Classic casing. All right. Aha. So I actually needed to options h2 index plus 1. That's where I need to insert it. Yay. So now the rules page is finding the options index and inserting a code block underneath it. Yay! We did it. Hooray! So now I need to actually fill out this code block. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Beautiful. So some rules are not configurable. How do we know whether the rule is configurable or not? Well, docs is something that we already retrieve in this metadata, and we already get the description from the docs. So let's look at docs dot, what is in there? Maybe not docs, description, recommended, et cetera, et cetera. Docs is a member of meta. So let's do meta.docs. Oops, don't need this log anymore. All right, so what is meta.schema? Here we go. Let's look at this meta schema for our files. Fun fact, file.stem is, I think it's just the file path. Yeah. So let's look at JSON overload signatures. It's an empty array. So if, excuse me, if meta.schema.length is 0, then we know that we need to add in the it's not configurable uh, indication. So let's add that as a value. And I'm actually also going to add in the text. This rule is not configurable. But how does that look? This rule is not configurable, so I'm going to pop it into AST Explorer to see. It's a type paragraph with children, type text, value, that value, what I just typed. Here we go. And I still don't know why we need to md ast dot pass these, but whatever. And it's not always a JSON overload signatures. It's docs dot or meta dot. Is there a name somewhere? We get the name. File dot. Oh, so it is file dot stem is the name. Cool. So just to recap, if there is no meta schema, then what we add to just after the options index is this JSON-C code block saying error, and then also the children paragraph of text saying it's not configurable. I'm actually going to switch this to meta.docs.recommended. Or warn. The recommended value for the rule is either error or strict or warn or false. Um, so if it's warn, excuse me, actually, if it's warn, then we want warn, otherwise, oh wait, if it's error, we want error. If it's strict, warn, or false, we want warn. So let's do recommended is error, error, otherwise warn. Here we go. What is that auto formatting pretty was giving? Weird. Let me just quit Slack in the background there. All right. DocuSource. So for rules that don't have any, Oh boy. Now, how is that happening? Cannot read properties undefined, reading docs on line 14. Oh, meta might not exist, I guess. Reading docs, so go back, start again. Fun stuff. All right. And there it is. Oops. Let's get rid of this stuff. Excuse me. Cool. So I don't know who's not configurable, but let's find. Are there any rules that aren't configurable? There we go. Let's look at the require awaits docs. Huh. So this is an interesting case. Require awaits is an extension rule. So it already has a how to use thing in it. So what of how to use slash options. All right, so if meta dot what is it docs dot extends base rule, yeah. So if it extends a base rule, we don't want to add to options. We want to add to how to use. Or maybe instead of how to use, we just combine these two, how to use and options. Do these all use the heading how to use? Yeah, they do. Okay, I'll stick with how it is so far. So options h2 index is find index where the value is how to use, how to use. And let's splice. Getting to be a lot of code here. Let's splice this code instead of what we had before. All right. So it's not whatever. Require.waits. It's the file stem as the rule name. And let's use this code. Const option level is that. Doo -doo -doo. Cool. So if we go back to require, excuse me, Lordy. If we go back to how to use under require rates, we can delete this existing JSON-C. And then, you know what, I bet you we can also auto-generate the options. So I'm gonna also splice in that. So in addition to the code, we're gonna splice in type heading, depth to children. This is just me going through the same logic as what's in there. Type text, value options. that's as mdast.heading. Because that's how this heading looks. It's type heading, dep2, children, an array with text, type text, value options. Right. And what I also want to add is C require await. Oh boy, look at all this stuff I'm going to have to add in. So I'm going to do a to-do, add a link to, yeah, I guess I can just do this now. All right, so it's another paragraph. Oh, interesting. This one also adds in the configure rule or not notice. Yeah, so I'm going to do this. This is getting complex, and I just want to check now that what I'm doing is actually right and good. So if I'm just adding in options, then yep. All I need to add now is this fella there, C ESLint require await options. So yeah, I'm gonna add in this children here, which is the ast.paragraph type paragraph children. So it's gonna have 3, a text, a link and a text. Ooh boy. Value C, link. Oh my God. So much. I know there's a library I saw somewhere that converts raw MD text to the AST, and it would be nice to use that. So at some point, if I have time, I think I will be switching over to that because this is really just getting silly. This is a lot of work. Children, type, this is inline code, value, ESLint slash file stem, and type text, value, options. Okay, and then the last text is value period. Just gonna alphabetize things, STU. Okay. So now this should be generating the C ESLint require await options. Nice. Oop, hang on. There should be a space in front of options. All right. And then one last thing to add is this sup, taken with love from ESLint core. Can I line that? Why are there spaces there? Does that work? Nope. Gotta have spaces. Okay. So I'm actually going to add that as a 5th step, or if the rule is extending a base rule, I'll just add it no matter what. Keep the logic separate. Oh boy, am I in the right place? Here. Add a notice about coming from ESLint core for extension rules. If meta, excuse me, parent.children.push. What are we pushing here? Pushing 3 things. HTML. There is a paragraph and then an HTML after that. This paragraph contains the children type text and a type link. Text has value taken with love, which it is. These are all taken with love. The URL, oh my god, has its own children. And that text has from ESLint core as its value. All right, so now require wait should no longer need that. And load. Cool. Let's just compare how they look. You know what? Why is this not small? Shouldn't it be small with the HTML? Type HTML, value sup. Huh, weird. It's not coming up as small. Type HTML, value sup. That's annoying. Parent.children, parent is root, root.children. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but you know what, it's fine. I'm just going to add a to-do notice. To-do, find and use library. That converts text to markdown AST. That'll fix the sup out of playing issue. All right. So let's take it from the top to see what else I am missing. All right, adjacent overload signatures on the production website. Looks good. Next one is array type, which doesn't even mention options. Oh, no, here it is. Wrong page, array type. All right, what do I need to do here? Array type.md. Ooh. So for rules that do have a schema, so options, I'm going to need to somehow convert from this, oops, I want the rule source file, array type schema, which is whatever, this array along with the default options, and I'm going to have to convert it to code that looks like that. So I haven't done that before, but I know that such a thing exists somewhere. What is it? It's like TypeScript type or JSON schema to TypeScript types. Ooh. JSON schema to TypeScript types. Schema. Let's look at oh, this looks good. This is on npm. JSON schema to TypeScript. All right. Okay, I guess there are. There's a transform tools website that just wraps around it. All right. So what does this actually look like? I'm just gonna replace encode just to be able to see. So type object properties is this stuff. I'm just gonna, excuse me. going to replace this to JSON. All right, cool. So Forest Journey, another TypeScript author, has a great little library here, JSON schema to TypeScript. So what I'm going to need to do is use JSON schema to TypeScript to convert this JSON schema to the TypeScript types. And it looks like it's, oh boy, it's asynchronous. And I do not know off the top of my head why that would be the case. That seems odd to me. Why would this need to be async? But okay. All right. So JSON schema to TypeScript. I'm under the website package, yarn add JSON schema to TypeScript. Ah, we have lock file issues. Didn't know that. Actually, let me dig in a little bit. Why is this async? Because I'm going to need a synchronous API for this. Because these plugins, I'm pretty sure, are synchronous. Type plugin equals attacher, which returns a transformer. Oh, it can be async, but that's all right. Well, see if that. What is this complaining about? Oh, it's complaining. All right, just an ESLint complaint that it doesn't have an async. So, all right, I guess I can use this JSON schema to TypeScript, and I import compile from it. All right, and where is it in my code? So this is the case of one that extends a base rule. This is the case of meta schema length being 0, and now I want to add parent.children.slice options h2 index 0. I'm just gonna excuse me. I'm gonna do text and value await compile meta dots schema. See if that works. What is await compile return? What is it complaining about? Const value equals await compile. Value is a string. Oh, does this have to be as mdast.text? Nice. All right. Let's just inline that for succinctness. Cool. So if there is no meta schema, if the rules and our options, we do what I already implemented. But if it does have options, then we convert them to the TypeScript type and just print that onto the page. So let's see if this works. I really hope it does. Also, no one has said anything on the chat, and that's totally okay. But let me know if you have any things that you wanna chat about. Lurking is fine, but I'm always happy to chat, talk any questions. And yay! It added something. It added just the header comments. This file is automatically generated. I see that the thing still uses TSLint disable in the default header comment. That's funny. So we need no banner comment. All right, meta.schema for array type is type object, it has properties. Well, I don't know why this isn't working, why it's not showing the full stuff. So I'm gonna take the code example instead and print that out. See if printing as code makes it a little easier to read or whatnot. All right, and yarn start. I really wish this had like a watch mode where every time I save the file, it would rerun this. It's getting annoying. What are we doing? Banner comment undefined. Oh, right, it was optimization index +1 to be after the heading and maybe to be empty string. Still not showing the any content there. That's some. Oh, wait, Venable isn't configurable. That's cool. And TS comment doesn't even have an options. That's cool. Yeah, none of them are getting what I wanted. Let's look at the examples. Server demo, browser demo. Compile from file, person.json. What does person.json look like? All right, maybe it needs a title. My options. Just comparing what's different. We don't have a title. We do have a type, and we do have properties. So maybe it was the title missing here. This is what professional coding is like. Just a lot of trial and error. Await Venable. Array type. Hey, look at that. It generated something. And I just realized it's not JSON C, the language, it's TS. But it didn't generate the thing that I wanted it to. What on earth is happening? That's unfortunate. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm getting confused, so I'm going to start debugging in Node. So let's do const compile equals require JSON schema to TypeScript. Compile, what am I compiling? Title, my options. Dot, I don't know, my options. And banner comment is blank string. Dot then x console.log x. It's actually called result, not x. Oh, missing a parentheses. All right, so here, if I put a void in front, it won't spew the console. What that promises. All right, so it's printing out the thing. And I forget what is that second argument used for? Compile my schema, comma my schema. I don't know what that's for. What does compile take in? It's to string it, schema, and name options. Additional properties. I'm just looking through the options. So my issue is it's doing case string to unknown. What if we set additional properties false? That didn't change anything. None of these seem particularly useful, so I'm just gonna try this instead. So we have person data. Oh boy, all the way up. And let's compile person data. See if that gives us a better result. It does. So what I'm also noticing is that person data has this required at the bottom. So what if compile is missing type my options, type objects, required, default, read only, or maybe not, a string unknown. Properties is default. There's an array option, which looks like that. Hey, look at that. It printed the thing. Also, my code is getting kind of convoluted. So let's convert this to JavaScript and format that. So maybe I'm just missing something obvious here. Default read only. Yeah, look at that, it's printing. But it also has the case string unknown, so I'm guessing additional properties false should be specified. Was that the name of it? Yeah. Yeah, look at that. So let's add additional properties false to the options here and yarn start and see what happens. Maybe my options will print as something a little more useful. Well, it's in TypeScript now, so that's nice. What is meta.schema printing as? Oh my god, you know what? Meta.schema 0. Excuse me. Meta.schema is an array. And it's JSON schema object. That's the issue. What is this complaining about? Whatever. It's not listing the project dependencies. That's fine. Meta.schema is an array, and I was spreading an array in, so it was giving me the wrong attributes. Okay. Meta.schema 0. All right. Yes, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. So it's not quite the same. I see that it doesn't reuse a type, but you know what? It's close enough. We have the compiled values, so let's do const interface options interface. I'm seeing that also has a trailing end line, so I'm just gonna options interface trim, make it a little cleaner. I'm also seeing that my options is in here, we call it options, so let's do that. Also, we need to add in this default options thing. So let's take a look. Ooh. And here we JSON.stringify the meta.default doc that, where's the default options specified? Default options. I want to print the default options. What is it? So it's on the rule as a sibling of meta. So it's here. It doesn't have default options listed. Just rule metadata. So I'm gonna have to add it to the rule metadata docs or to the rule itself. Let's see. ESLint plugin rules. I'm gonna just rule equals this thing, const meta equals rule question mark dot meta. So I want to be able to say rule dot default options. Where's the weights? There it is. All right. So rule dot default options, but that doesn't exist. It only has create and meta. So if we go to definition, default options, the options. Let's add it in default options. The rule will run with rule dot default options. Probably going to have to build the utils package. All right, so now I'm going to have to implement this. Find all references. Who in the code creates a rule module? So if I go to is utils, do yarn build -w, starts TypeScript in watch mode. Oh boy, I have some pending changes from some other things I was working on, so I'm just going to have to build everything from scratch. All right. If we look at, say, array type, it's util.create rule, which is ESLint utils.rule-creator, which returns create rule. Aha! Create rule, which returns meta, and create. Look at this, out of alphabetical order. If we put in default options, voila! So this create rule function previously just returned meta and create. Now it also returns default options in its object. Yay! Okay, yeah, my build failed because there was a compile error there. But now I'm gonna restart a TS server for this. Oh, and while I'm here, I can also add JSON schema to my dependencies for the website package. Cool, so progress is happening. I also see one of the builds failed. That's unfortunate. Apply defaults is complaining. Options as unknown. What is options though? I don't know what any of this means. Why would this fail? I've never seen this function before. I'm going to ignore it. See if I can yarn start. I sure hope I can. And then I'll deal with that crap later. Also, fun fact, on Twitter, Brad Zacher, one of the other maintainers mentions the same thing, and it seems to be working. Yay! Awesome. Hi, if you're here, hi Brad. I don't see him on the list though. All right. Yeah, look at this. Default options equals default array. Awesome. Oh, I forgot to add the null comma 4 there. So let's restart. Oh, actually, I think it's 2. So JSON stringify takes in a replacer, which we're just using as null, and then how many spaces. And our website seems to be using 2 spaces. So I will do that. Cool beans. Oh. Oh, there we go. Nice. However, this JSON stringify whatever thing, excuse me, this is not good enough. I want prettier. So we normally use prettier to format stuff. So I'm just gonna skip to using that. So prettier has a node API. So format, oops, is what they call it I'm seeing. So I'm gonna import format from prettier. Oh, no, P. What's this complaining about? Should be listed in the project's dependencies. So in the website, yarn add prettier. And I'll just figure out the versioning later, see if it dupes or changes some other version. All right, so I no longer need to really care about the stringifying settings for the rules default options because I'm just formatting with prettier. And I hope the default options are aesthetically pleasing because that would be annoying if not. Oh boy, please specify a parser or file path. Okay, parser. Let's see. I think we normally use parser TypeScript-ESLint / parser. Will that work? Couldn't resolve parser. Great. I'm just gonna go back to JSON stringify. I don't want to have to figure this out. Is there a list of available parsers for TypeScript? Ooh, custom parsers. How can we do that? Yeah, I don't want to figure this out, and the JSON stringify was fine, I think. So let's just go with JSON stringify for now. Out of curiosity, do we ever set a parser anywhere? Parser require.resolve. Ooh, maybe that actually would work. Back to prettier. Yeah. Require.resolve. I mean, that should work. If you run node from the website, require.resolve TypeScript-ESLint / parser gets you, emitted a value instead of an instance of an error. Type error, parser.parse is not a function. X equals acquire or parser. Acquire thing dot parser. Does that work? Or actually, I could just import R as TypeScript-ESLint parser from TypeScript-ESLint / parser and add it as dependency. Excuse me. All right. And parser TypeScript-ESLint.parser.parse. And yarn start. It's really bugging me, the kind of ugly JSON stringify null2 output. I really want this to look good. Oh my God, did it work? Yes, look at that. Oh, it's, you know what? Fine. I need to add in another blank line, format dot trim. And actually, this no longer needs to be trimmed. Okay, one more time. So I'm moving the end line to above default option instead of after. Oh, why is it complaining? Let's add another blank line after. Ah, I needed to move it there for the blank line because blank line needs to be between the interface and the default options. Come on, Docusaurus. What? What if we add a second blank line between them? I don't know why prettier is getting rid of the blank line. You know what? I'm going to move the format down to there. With its options. I wish that I cared less about the little things. It would make me much faster as a developer. But gosh darn, I just really want this to look beautiful. What? All right. Dot trim. So one last little shenanigan. Excuse me. Actually, one thing I'm wondering is why is this exporting it from the compile? Is Boris's JSON schema to TypeScript? Does it have an option for export? Can we get rid of the exports? I don't want to export. Fancy noms, format, ignore min-max, max, style. Nothing. So we can just dot replace. Dot replace. Any start of the string export space. Replace it with blank. And G. So it does as many as it finds. Okay, for real this time. Now I think it'll be good. Yay! Wait. Okay, yes. Nice, look at this. So now in array type .md, we can get rid of it. And unfortunately, this stuff has to stay because rules just have descriptions of things that we can't auto-generate yet. I'm not going to try to get to that. So let's just go through the rules. Oh wait, Tenable.md no longer needs these options. You know what? I'm going to add a to-do to the code. To-do add if doesn't yet exist. So maybe we could just remove the options heading altogether from the source code if it doesn't have any contents. All right, ban TS comments doesn't have options at all. So let's add them in. Options. There we go. Whoa, what is... This is a rather ugly description of options. Oh, the configuration looks like this. So yeah, this is unfortunate that JSON schema excuse me, doesn't intelligently detect when you can reuse types. So this will have to be something we discuss in the PR that, well, if there isn't an option for that, maybe we should add it in to JSON schema to TypeScript. I'm just checking. Reuse. No. Banner comment, additional properties, nothing. Yeah, it's just repeating the same 3 union value types, whatever's, over and over again. All right, moving on. And ESLint comment.md. I'm just going through and checking existing things now. Options can be empty. Yeah, I really don't feel like I want to include an empty options heading in source code. So how are we gonna add the options heading in there if it doesn't yet exist? Well, if it doesn't yet exist, if we're looking at, let's say, ban TSLint comments.md as an example, I guess we can add it just before when not to use it, or at the end. So, where is it? If options h2 index is -1, then what are we going to do? Const when not to use its h2 index is always when not to use it. And options h2 index is this is -1, else. So if we don't even have one not to use it, let's do parent.children.length -1, otherwise we're not to use it -1. All right, let's see how that works. So ban TSLint comment, it should be adding in the options heading. Oh, wait, it needs to add in the options heading. Whoops. So we're going to have to parent.children.splice options h2 index 0. as in the AST dot heading. Type heading. Children just has the one, which is type text value options. Also, I'm seeing that this filter here could be reused, so create h2 find index filter, text filter equals text string. This returns node. You missed that node, a function that, oh boy. Oh, it's actually called child here. Let's call it node. All right. So now I've created this function here, and we can replace when not to use it. Replace all these random filters for h2 text. I was complaining about being used before it's declared. Let's just move this. And for linting, it must declare the type explicitly. Okay. Move function declaration to body root. Okay, dokie. Let's move it all the way down. Cool. And now we can start replacing stuff. Where else do we use node as heading? Aha. Find index, how to use. Cool. All right. So now we slice in the options h2 if it doesn't yet exist. So ban TSLint comment should now have options just before the when not to use it section. Please work. Where? Nope. Nowhere on the page. If file stem includes ban TSLint comment, console log options h2 index when not to use it h2 index from parent.children.length. All right. Let's expand this. I see the terminal is. Oh man, look at that. Look at that formatting. How unfortunate. All right. Oops. Well, that's crashing the page. I did something wrong here. Parent children length. All right, so wait a second. We do have a when not to use it h2 index, 17. I'm just gonna log out the parent children. Oh boy. Oh, I missed a parentheses. Silly me. Control A, Control C, format as JSON, and there we go. When not to use it. So we do have that heading when not to use it. Aha! It's complaining about tabs, and there's tabs just before heading. So I shouldn't have -1, I think. I think we should be slicing it at that index. Okay, that makes sense. I always mess up the array things, splicing and shifting and all this. Oop, come on, Talkie-saurus. But now we don't, so it's not crashing. Oh, haha, I forgot to put depth. Depth 2. Look at that, it does have options. Nice. So I'm just gonna kill out my debug logs. Yarn start. Love it. So this should be an H2. If we go to and TSLint comment now in the prod sites. There we go. Correct, correct. All right, well, the rule details description is pretty tiny, but that's not the thing I'm tackling at this PR. Awesome. So let's go back through previous MD files, JSON overload signatures. How does that look now? Full details, options, nice. Array type still has options, but these are auto-generated now. Await Venable is not configurable. Cool. How cool is this? It works. And TS comments with its unfortunate auto-generated types. Awesome. So here's what I'm going to do. Excuse me. I'm just about done with the stream now. I'm going to post up a work in progress PR with the note that I'm going to have to go through a whole bunch of other files and remove the options. Yeah, look at this. Return array residue. I'm also noticing that on the right sidebar, if I go to the page and zoom in, the auto-generated options section doesn't get added there, which is like a weird Dockysaurus quirk. I don't know why that is, and we're going to have to investigate. I would hope that's a thing we can have fixed, because I really like options to show up in the headings sidebar. So the to-dos for this are to investigate adding options there to the sidebar, and then also whether JSON schema to TypeScript can reuse similar types in some way. Cool. So check out the rule docs generated options. Oh, remove. I don't need that temp file anymore. Oh yeah, and website package JSON. What did I add here? I added TypeScript JSON parsing, JSON schema to TypeScript, and prettier. Now prettier I think can just be a star because we can take in the version it's already declared in the root package. So go to yarn, git add all, git commit chore website, generate rule docs options automatically. You can't see me typing, but I promise I am doing it. It's not showing up in the console because it's building. But cool. If anyone has any suggestions for things to talk about in the last 5 minutes, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just find someone to raid. If you have any raid suggestions, let me know that too. Where did the raid button go? There it is. All right, gonna push this up to the website. Here we go. And to mark as investigations. Get options heading in right sidebar. See if JSON schema to TypeScript. Is that what it's called? Yeah. TypeScript can make shared types for repeated shapes. Oh, and finish trimming down more rule docs and D file. Cool. Ooh, I have the hiccups. So that's the draft PR. Oh my god, loading, putting it in the chat, and of course, posting on Twitter. Draft PR here. A few to-dos to get through still, but I'm really happy with the progress. All right, time to raid. Excuse me, Cure.js. Starting now. Thanks everyone. Cheers and bye.